Faye Resnick has confession about Mauricio's single lifestyle. Kyle Richards and Dorit Kemsley are both separated, but not divorced, from their husbands, but that hasn't stopped Mauricio Umansky and Paul P.K. Kemsley from taking frequent trips together. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills husbands have been very clear about their stronger-than-ever friendship, including when PK hung out with Mauricio in Aspen at the end of February while the real estate agent recovered from clavicle surgery. "This is what support actually looks like," PK wrote on Instagram, with a photo of him and Mauricio hugging. But now, in previously unaired footage from the Season 14, Episode 15 preview clip above, Kyle and Dorit's friend Faye Resnick is hinting that more may be at play than just a support system. What did Faye Resnick tell Kyle Richards and Dorit Kemsley about Mauricio Umansky? In a preview for Episode 15, Kyle and Mauricio are talking in the kitchen about his recent vacation where he was spotted kissing another woman in Greece. "It was nice, lot of spas, a lot of sound healing," he said, "spiritual healing. I only partied like 5 nights. Out of the 25 nights. I find that very hard to believe," Kyle responded, but Mauricio insisted, "I promise." Producers then included an unseen flashback to 2 weeks earlier when all of the wives were at a party, including Faye. By the way, Faye said down the table to Kyle and Dorit, "You do know that Ma is trying to get PK and my husband to go to St. Tropez." "I know," Dorit said. "So now he wants to drag my husband into his single lifestyle?" Faye asked, as Kyle just shook her head in disbelief at the table. Faye married her 4th husband, attorney Everett Jack Jr., in October 2015. PK and Mauricio traveled together during their breakups. St. Tropez wouldn't be the first trip Mauricio and PK took together. Their bromance made headlines in August 2024 when they traveled to Las Vegas on a guy's trip to celebrate PK's 57th birthday. The two became friends over the years through their wives, Dorit and Kyle. But they also admitted on Bravo's Hot Mic podcast on December 24 that it was their separations that brought them closer together. "We've been going both through separations, relationship issues in different ways, but we have both been going through that," Mauricio said. "And so that has given us also an opportunity, by both of us also being on the show, to share things with each other that we would never be able to share with others just because they wouldn't understand it. And so that has brought our friendship even closer." "I think that's right," PK agreed. "I think there's a level of trust that Mao and I have that we can talk about anything, knowing that it's not going to be repeated." The dynamic duo also partied on a boat in Miami in November 2024 and met up at the Good Time Hotel in Miami Beach with Summer House's Jesse Solomon during Kyle Cook's DJ set. Faye Resnick's confession: the truth behind Mauricio's single lifestyle. In the glamorous world of Beverly Hills, nothing is as it seems. Beneath the luxurious homes, designer clothes, and sparkling diamonds, there are secrets lurking. Secrets that, when revealed, can shake the foundations of even the most solid friendships. For Faye Resnick, the truth she uncovered about Mauricio Umansky's so-called single lifestyle was a revelation that would have far-reaching consequences. This is the untold story behind Faye's confession, Mauricio's complex relationships, and the connections that bind them all. A flashback to St. Tropez. The evening started like any other. Kyle Richards and Dorit Kemsley sat at the long table, chatting and laughing with their fellow Real Housewives of Beverly Hills stars. The opulent setting was a grand estate in the heart of Beverly Hills, a place where conversations often spiraled into gossip, secrets, and confessions. But tonight, something felt different. Faye Resnick, the longtime friend of Kyle and Dorit, was seated across from the two women, a glass of wine in hand. She had always been the kind of woman who knew more than she let on, the type who observed carefully, piecing together the clues before anyone else had a chance to notice. But as the evening unfolded, she would drop a bombshell that no one was prepared for. "So, by the way," Faye said casually, her eyes scanning the room before landing on Kyle and Dorit. "You do know that Ma is trying to get PK and my husband to go to St. Tropez, right?" Dorit's eyebrows raised, and Kyle's expression froze. "St. Tropez?" Dorit repeated almost incredulously. She had known Mauricio Umansky long enough to understand that the real estate mogul was always pushing the boundaries when it came to living life on his own terms. But St. Tropez, that was a step up from his usual escapades. "I know," Dorit said, her tone reflecting both surprise and understanding. She had known about Mauricio's penchant for adventure and his single lifestyle, but the idea of him trying to drag PK into it was a revelation. "So now he wants to drag my husband into his single lifestyle?" Faye asked, a hint of disbelief in her voice. Kyle's eyes narrowed slightly, her lips pressing into a thin line. She had been trying to make sense of her own relationship with Mauricio, and hearing Faye's words only added fuel to the fire of her growing suspicions. The last few months had been full of ups and downs, from Mauricio's mysterious trips to Greece to the public whispers about his relationships. But this comment, this casual throwaway remark from Faye, suddenly painted a picture that Kyle wasn't sure she was ready to see. Faye's voice softened as she looked at Kyle. "I just don't get it. He's been acting like he's living the single life, but I don't know if that's what he really wants, or if it's just a way to cope with everything that's been happening." Mauricio's single lifestyle. To understand the weight of Faye's words, we need to go back to Mauricio's recent behavior. Over the past few months, the public had been watching as Mauricio seemed to embrace a new persona, the carefree bachelor. His travels, his nights out, and his flirtations with other women were well documented in tabloids and on social media. But was it all just for show? Was Mauricio truly enjoying his new life, or was it a facade hiding something deeper? It was clear that Mauricio had been leaning into the idea of living alone and unencumbered. He had been spotted in Greece, surrounded by beautiful women, and even kissed one of them in full view of cameras. When Kyle confronted him about the kiss, Mauricio tried to downplay it, claiming that his trip was all about spiritual healing and relaxation. "I promise, I only partied 5 nights out of the 25, he insisted, trying to calm Kyle's growing concerns. Kyle wasn't convinced. "I find that very hard to believe," she said, her skepticism palpable. Mauricio's assurances weren't enough to erase the doubt that had been slowly creeping into her mind. It was in this moment of doubt that Faye's confession about Mauricio's attempts to get PK involved in his single lifestyle took on a new significance. Faye's words were more than just idle gossip. They hinted at a deeper, unspoken truth. Mauricio wasn't just living the life of a carefree bachelor for his own enjoyment. He was trying to bring others into his world, whether they wanted to be there or not. But what was Mauricio really after? Was he trying to prove something to himself, to Kyle, or was he seeking validation from his friends, looking for reassurance that he was still the same man he had been before the breakdown of his marriage? The bromance that wasn't just about support. The relationship between Mauricio and PK Kemsley had always been an interesting one. On the surface, it seemed like a typical Hollywood bromance. The two men had been friends for years, bonded over their wives, Dorit and Kyle. But in recent months, their friendship had taken on a new dimension. As both Mauricio and PK navigated their separations from their wives, they found solace in each other. "We've both been going through separations, relationship issues in different ways," Mauricio admitted during a podcast interview. "And so that has given us also an opportunity, by both of us being on the show, to share things with each other that we would never be able to share with others, just because they wouldn't understand it." PK, always the more open and candid of the two, agreed. "There's a level of trust that Mao and I have that we can talk about anything, knowing that it's not going to be repeated." Their bond grew stronger with every shared experience, and it wasn't long before their trips together became more than just friendly getaways. In August 2024, the two men traveled to Las Vegas to celebrate PK's 57th birthday, their faces plastered all over social media as they partied into the night. A few months later, they were in Miami, partying on a boat and enjoying each other's company like two young men on a holiday. They were living a life that seemed free of responsibilities and commitments, a stark contrast to the lives they had once shared with their wives.